شوية تنفس شوية تنفس. إيه طلع صوتك نجي على
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثر فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد يا رب. يلا قوم بابا قوم خلاص. So you're reciting salam, right? Yep. If you want, I don't know what sequence you are. If you want towards the end, if you want to kind of take a break and then I can finish, unless you want to say dua and then salam right back to back. Whatever you prefer. You're okay doing back to back? I'm okay doing whatever. Beautiful. Well, let's start, and then I'm only giving you an option if you wanted to push a little breather before your salam. That's all. I'm okay with it. Start. Yeah. Salam alaikum.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تثنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك، وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوب غافرا، ولا لقبائح ساترا، ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت، سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي، وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي، كم من قبيح سترته، وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته، وكم من عثار وقيته، وكم من مكروه دفعته، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بسوء حالي، وقصرت بي أعمالي، وحبسني النفع بعد آمالي، وخضعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومطالي. يا سيدي، فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملت في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي، من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى واسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك، وخالفت بعض أوامرك. فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك، والزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا ناتما منكسرا مستقيلا، مستغفرا منيبا، مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني، ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري، وفكني من شدي وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي، يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي. هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات، أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته، أو تبعد من أدنيته، أو تشرد من آويته، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك ماتحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك الطائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب، وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه، قليل مكثوه، يسير بقاؤه، قصير مدته. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي، فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المستكين؟ يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أضج وأبكي؟ لأليم العذاب وشدته، أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك. فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك، فكيف أصبر على فراقك؟ وهبني صبرت على حر نارك، فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك؟ أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاء عفوك؟ فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا، لئن تركتني ناتقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي. فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك، ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك، وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجلى ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا، وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها، وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها، وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، كل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم، والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته، وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته، أو إحسان فضلته، أو بر نشرته، أو رزق بسطته، أو ذنب تغفره، أو خطأ تستره، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا، وبخدمتك موصولا، وأعمالي عندك مقبولا، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قو على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك الدنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخسهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، وعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وعقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منائي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه تواه وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. صلوات. یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا، اسیر ہو کے وہ جب شام میں گیا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں سنا ہے شام میں جاتے ہی خون رونے لگا، سنا ہے شام میں جاتے ہی خون رونے لگا، نہ جانے شمر نے اس وقت کیا کہا ہوگا، نہ جانے شمر نے اس وقت کیا کہا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں گلے کے طوق نے عابد کو کیا جھکانا تھا، گلے کے طوق نے عابد کو کیا جھکانا تھا، وہ اپنے کھوئے ہوئے لال ڈھونڈتا ہوگا، وہ اپنے کھوئے ہوئے لال ڈھونڈتا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں وہ ظلم دیکھے سجاد نے حسین کے بعد، وہ ظلم دیکھے سجاد نے حسین کے بعد، مجھے یقین ہے کہ اب تک بھی رو رہا ہوگا، مجھے یقین ہے کہ اب تک بھی رو رہا ہوگا۔ یہ سوچتا ہوں وہ یاد کرتا تو ہوگا وطن کی شاہی کو، وہ یاد کرتا تو ہوگا وطن کی شاہی کو، بہن کو دفن جو پردیس میں کیا ہوگا، بہن کو دفن جو پردیس میں کیا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا، جو غور کیجیے تو عابد بشر نہیں لگتا، جو غور کیجیے تو عابد بشر نہیں لگتا، میرے خیال میں دکھ درد کا خدا ہوگا، میرے خیال میں دکھ درد کا خدا ہوگا، یہ سوچتا ہوں کہ عابد کا حال کیا ہوگا، اسیر ہو کے وہ جب شام میں گیا ہوگا۔ صلوات۔
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد رب اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك. In the words of the poet Nouri Sardar, titled Serving Hussein, he says, there's only one thing that's priceless, just as al-Baneen taught us, and that is serving Hussein. Without it, everything's worthless. Our comfort in every distress, serving Hussein. Call it special, or else call it a miracle. The tongue says your name, and from the eye, tears trickle. We tear out our eyes if to cry we're unable. We would cry blood if to cry. We would cry blood if to cry we were able. Just as al-Baneen would cry. Just as al-Baneen would cry. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman. Just as al-Baneen would cry, and she would bid her sons goodbye, serving Hussein. With birth tears on our eyelids lie, those tears continue till we die, serving Hussein. Before existence to your name we were brought forth, we were fed. We were fed the dust of Karbala since our birth. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we were of the few that knew of His worth. O son of Ali, the first that others made forth. Of your greatness there was no doubt. Of your greatness there was no doubt. We always quenched our thirst in drought, serving Hussein. Even when we're silent, we shout. Even when we're silent, we shout. We have a gift few knew about, serving Hussein. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Ya Rab. Inshallah, we continue to do what we can in the honor of Abba Fadl al-Abbas and Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam in his service. Inshallah, my brother Safdar Zaidi will recite a few words of salam and we continue these blessed nights of Muharram. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma.
بر محمد و آل بیت محمد صلوات. زینب نے کہا باپ کے قدموں سے لپٹ کر اب آئے ہو بابا. زینب نے کہا باپ کے قدموں سے لپٹ کر اب آئے ہو بابا. جب لٹ گیا پردیس میں اماں کا بھرا گھر اب آئے ہو بابا. بابا اگر آنا ہی تھا خالق کی رضا سے اس وقت نہ آئے جب خاک پہ دم توڑ رہا تھا میرا اکبر اب آئے ہو بابا. کٹ کٹ کے گرے نہر پہ جب بازوئے عباس اور کوئی نہ تھا پاس. اس وقت صدا آپ کو دیتا تھا دلاور اب آئے ہو بابا. جب بھائی کا سر کٹتا تھا میں دیکھ رہی تھی حضرت کو صدا دی. سر کھولے ہوئے روتی تھی میں خیمے کے در پر اب آئے ہو بابا. جب شام کے قزاق ہمیں لوٹ رہے تھے خیموں کو جلا کے آپ آ گئے ہوتے تو نہ چھنتی میری چادر اب آئے ہو بابا. زینب نے کہا باپ کے قدموں سے لپٹ کر اب آئے ہو بابا. برائے تعجیل ظہور امام زمانہ صلوات. یا حسین ابن علی چھوٹا اسلام ہے شارٹ ہے اس سے بھی پہلے خوشنودی محمد وآل محمد بلند تر صلوات. ایک سلام کے چند اشعار ہیں مرزا دبیر کا کلام ہے جو آپ کی سماعتوں کے بار دیگر صلوات. اللہم صلی علی ڈوبا جو آفتاب تو ابھرنے لگا حسین نیزے کی نوک پر بھی سنورنے لگا حسین ڈوبا جو آفتاب اے قاتلان صبتے پیغمبر یہ سوچ لے اے قاتلان صبتے پیغمبر یہ سوچ لے مر کے بھی حشر تک نہیں مرنے لگا حسین ڈوبا جو آفتاب تن پہ جو تھی نبی کے ابا سرخ ہو گئی تن پہ جو تھی نبی کے ابا سرخ ہو گئی گھوڑے کی زین سے جو اترنے لگا حسین ڈوبا جو آفتاب جب سے ہوا مطالبہ بیعت کا آپ سے جب سے ہوا مطالبہ بیعت کا آپ سے ہر دل پہ حکمرانیاں کرنے لگا حسین ڈوبا جو آفتاب حیران کھڑی ہے موت بھی کربل کے دشت میں اصغر کا خون چہرے پہ ملنے لگا حسین ڈوبا جو آفتاب مختار ہے کر کے چراغ گل شب عاشور کو دبیر کر کے چراغ گل شب عاشور کو دبیر خود بن کے شمع دین کی جلنے لگا حسین ڈوبا جو آفتاب تو ابھرنے لگا حسین. صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد.
پر محمد و آل محمد صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد.
یہ کون سی مستور ہے کیا مانگ رہی ہے اسلام کی خدمت کا صلہ مانگ رہی ہے ہر صاحب غیرت سردا مانگ رہی ہے پردیس سے جانے کی دعا مانگ رہی ہے افسردہ ہیں افلاک سیاہ پوش زمین ہے جبریل ذرا دیکھئے زینب تو نہیں ہے. فاتحہ. یوں رقم کرتا ہے ایک راوی یہ مغموم و فگار یوں رقم کرتا ہے ایک راوی یہ مغموم و فگار پہنچا جب قافلہ کوفے میں بحالے نہدا پہنچا جب قافلہ کوفے میں بحالے نہدا دیکھتا کیا ہے کہ سر کو تو ہے نیزوں ایک سر گھوڑے کی گردن میں بندھا ہے ناچ، ایک سر گھوڑے کی گردن میں بندھا ہے ناچ، پوچھا کیوں گردنیں راہوار میں اس کو باندھا، کس خطا پر سے نیزے کے ناقابل سمجھا، جرم تھا کون سا زلفوں کو جو اس کی باندھا، سن کے سر پیٹ لیا اور یہ عابد نے کہا کیا سناؤں تجھے احوال میں غم کا مارا، یوں تو مشہور ہے یہ چاند بنی ہاشم کا، یوں تو مشہور ہے یہ چاند بنی ہاشم کا، بھائی کہتے تھے شہنشاہ مدینہ ان کو، آج سب کہتے ہیں سقائے سکینہ ان کو، شمر نے جب کہ چھڑایا تھا انہیں نیزے پر، شمر نے جب کہ چڑھایا تھا انہیں نیزے پر، سب نے دیکھا کہ پھری چار طرف کی تھر تھرانے لگا خورشید صفت نیزے پر، گر پڑا کانپ کے پھر سر یہ زمین کے اوپر، دوسری مرتبہ پھر سر کو بلند اس نے کیا، پھر اسی طرح سر پاک زمین پر آیا، تیسری مرتبہ پھر سر زمین سے اٹھا، آیا گھبرایا ہوا پاس میرے اور یہ کہا کیا سبب ہے جو نہ سر نیزے کے اوپر ٹھہرا، تازیہ نے بھی لگاتا مجھے لایا، اس تازیہ نے بھی لگاتا مجھے لایا، اس جا میں نے سر رکھ دیا اپنا جو زمین کے اوپر، آئی آواز کے سنے میرے مظلوم، ہم نہیں چاہتے نیزے کی سواری بیٹا، مولا کے نا رتبے کو لئیں کو سمجھا سر میرا رکھتے ہیں آقا کے برابر ایک جا کیسے بہم ہوں وے غلاموں ایک جا کیسے بہم ہوں وے غلاموں پیچھے پیچھے رہا کرتا ہے غلام آقا کے کیسے ممکن ہے برابر ہوں شہ والا کے دوسری وجہ یہ ہے سر جو چڑھے نیزے پر سر کھولے بہتے علی سامنے آتی ہے نظر کانپ اٹھتا ہوں میں غیرت سے میرے رش کے کم حیف ہے جن کو فرشتوں نے نہ دیکھا حیف ہے جن کو فرشتوں نے نہ دیکھا ہائے کس طرح سے زینب کو کھلے سر دیکھوں آنکھ جل جائے جو بے معنی چادر ہائے کس طرح سے زینب کو کھلے سر دیکھوں آنکھ جل جائے جو بے معنی چادر یوں رقم کرتا ہے ایک راوی یہ مغموم و فگار پر محمد و آل محمد صلوات
صلوات مومنین کرام السلام علیکم just few things before Sayyid Kamil takes the member. As we know, that's last Majalis of this series that Sayyid is going to address. And, how the 10 days go in every Muharram, and especially from the first Muharram to the Ashura day, it's just amazing that with the knowledge and with the ilm that is distributed by these alims all around the world, in all the Imam Bargas and everywhere where the Majalis happens, it's amazing in the name of Hussein that we cannot pay the complete shukrana to. But, the words may not be enough, and with the khidmat and all the services that these alims and the speakers that go around the world leaving their home and their family, It's just that, again, the words may not be enough, but on the behalf of the board of directors and all this Al Zahra community, and I'm sure on behalf of all of you who are present here and part of the membership and the extended community members, I can offer just the words of thanks to Sayyid Kamil, who has taken the time to come away from what he was doing before he come here. Maybe some of you, if you don't know, that he was in Qom, and he came from there especially, and his family who's in Kingston. Then, of course, he's with us for these 10, 12 days, which is another something that cannot be just appreciated in the words, but I'm sure the sawab and the real reward comes from through the wasila of Ahlul Bayt and from the wasila of the Imam Hussein and the khidmat that he's been doing. So for the increase in his ilm, his health, his safety, his tawfiqat, and may Allah give him more long life that he can provide the similar guidance and the support to the community just like he did in the last 10 years. Please recite a loudest salawat. And Mu'mineen, at the same time, you can see these arrangements in any Imam Barga, in any center, in any Hussainiya, either it's Al Zahra or is anywhere in the world, anywhere in any other community. It comes with a lot of responsibility from some people who have taken, and you might have seen some young folks, our program team, our IT team, our ladies team who have done such an amazing job during this time by providing all this support and help. Which cannot be, again, appreciated in the words, but again, for their increase in tawfiqat, their health and their safety, and may Allah increase their strength to do and provide whatever they have desires in their personal life and their families. Another loud salawat, please. And Mu'mineen, last but not least, a very repeated story from the point of the center that all these programs, all these arrangements require the community support. So if you are able to donate anything towards the center during this time, that will be super appreciated, not from just me and the board of directors, but from the point that this center belongs to the community. It belongs to our future. It belongs to the youngsters. It belongs to the youth, and that requires help from everybody. And we have donation boxes, one in the hall, one in the foyer, in the men's side. There's a couple donation boxes in the ladies section. So please donate whatever you can. It will be really helpful from now towards the end of the year, because this is the time, whatever the donation we collect, it helps us go conducting these programs from the end of the Muharram or during the Muharram up to the end of the year. And then, of course, we come again and request for your help. But the help is, of course, it's a continuous thing which does require attention from myself and everybody to run these centers. There is a debit machine as well outside in the foyer, so if somebody wants to donate through a credit card or debit card, that is easily available. The machine can be provided in the ladies section too. At the same time, if you're a member and if you have not renewed the membership, please renew the membership. As per the bylaws, the membership must be renewed by the end of June 30th, I believe, at the midpoint in the year. But again, we do not enforce that, but all we can do is request that if you have not renewed it. If you're not a member, definitely this is the time to consider becoming a member. alzahra.ca has all the information. If you need any more information, you can approach me. There are other volunteers, Brother Zaman and others who can definitely help you. So again, please help your center. This belongs to us. This belongs to our community. This belongs to our future of this community. And with that, without any delay, I would request the presence of Sayyid Kamil on the member with your loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وسيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. Salawat, please. We started off this month, really, these 10 days, talking about the fact that this Muharram is a month of development. And this now becomes the last lecture in this series, where we inshallah talk about not just Imam Hussein, but rather Husseyniyat. And talking about how we can in fact get to that Husseyniyat, such that we are with the caravan of Abu Abdullah. We have to ensure that we treat Abu Abdullah no less than our best friend. In our difficult times, we talk to him, for sure he is the one who can help us. For those who are in the caravan of Abu Abdullah, we say, Ma lana illa al-Husayn. We don't have anyone but Imam Hussein alayhi salam. A quick overview of the topics we talked about. We started talking about meanings that we associate and how they change our actions. In particular, we talked about qudra. We looked at some examples. Then we talked about life and difficulty in life, and how those who are in the caravan of Abu Abdullah look at life, and how they look at the difficulties that are in life. Some difficulties being in abiding by the rules of Abu Abdullah, the rules of the caravan of love. And we concluded the talks talking about death, really, and how the caravan sees death. All this way we were talking about the emphasis of self-development and talking about the nafs, really, this I that you have, and how meanings affect this particular I, and how this I interacts with other I's around it. Last session I gave advice to the students, and I told them that they should come together, assist one another in their academic journey, and create academic strength in the community, connected to their primary identity, which is the identity of being Shia. We talked about the fact that we should not be attributing to ourselves that I'm from Fala Mohalla, or from Fala country, or Fala Ilaqa, and so on and so forth. That shouldn't be our primary source of identity in our behaviors. The primary source of identity that dictates our behavior should be that I'm actually a follower of Abu Abdullah. I'm a Shia. And while I'm a Shia, I also happen to be located in this city or that city, and so on and so forth. I gave advice to the centers, and I said that their purpose should be to unite people on the sake of this primary identity, not language or culture. And they have to be able to grow with the times. That where we live right now in Canada, one of the requirements for centers is to become financially independent. And this is something that they can only do if the community helps them do that. Inshallah, in the near future, we'll have Husseyniyas and centers that are financially independent and run their own businesses, which are supported by and give occupation to the youth of that very community, inshallah. Salawat, please. My last advice was, in general, talking about Salatul Jummah, and I said that this is one of the institutions that the Ahlul Bayt have placed in communities as a mean of zikr of Allah, as a means of giving blessings to those who come. Where basically if you stay for Jummah and you recite Jummah, you were giving the thawab of Hajj, and if you stayed for Asr, then you were giving the thawab of Umrah. Every step you were taking was in fact causing sins to go away from you. So this strong institution should not be weakened at all if it's been established already. Another salawat, please. The last lecture we talk about the final aspect, which is zikrul maut, the mention of death. See, in our riwayat and our ayat, in our deen itself, we have three main types of zikrul maut. Okay? The first type is the mention of the ultimate death. That death which brought to life all the dead hearts in the world. It's the mention of Karbala itself. The first zikrul maut that is mentioned in our riwayat is in fact the awakening of all of our hearts by means of the shahada of Aba Abdullah. Now, when we commemorate and we cry for the musibah of Aba Abdullah, that crying and that commemoration, does it benefit Aba Abdullah? Absolutely not. That crying and that commemoration is an action which my nafs performs. The I that I have, that performs that particular action. Then that crying and that mourning for Aba Abdullah, in fact, it only affects one individual really, which is who? Which is I. Okay? How does it affect the I? We have a riwayah, it says, on the Holy Prophet, in fact. Salawat, please. This is a very famous hadith that says, إِنَّ لِلْقَتْلِ الْحُسَيْنِ حَرَارَةً فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لَا تَبْرُدُ أَبَدًا. In the commemoration of the shahada of Aba Abdullah, Allah has placed a fire in the hearts of mu'mineen which will not become cold ever. You see, when you're talking about eyes and you want to talk about the functionality of eyes, typically we use siyahi and nuraniyat, blackness and light. Okay? When you talk about the functionality of a heart, you talk about coldness and heat. Okay? So Aba Abdullah's love, what it does is it allows for the heart to perform its function. If you say somebody is not able to see, you say he's losing light in his eyes, correct? Typically in languages, in the Arabic language, you'll come and say he's losing light in his eyes. Urdu also has that sometimes. So the functionality of that capacity of man to use his eyes or not to use his eyes in language is illustrated by light. In a very similar manner, the functionality of the heart has been illustrated by harara, heat or coldness. In the mention, in the dhikr, in the mourning of Aba Abdullah, your heart allows itself to gain energy and power to do its functionality. And the functionality of the heart is nothing but developing your nafs. Your heart is that particular input mechanism which is connected to its creator. You have multiple input mechanisms. You have the eyes, the hands, and so on and so forth. In our riwayat, when we talk about the heart, we don't mean the thing that's over here. The qalb of man, you don't mean the actual physical organ that's here. The qalb of man is that essence of that I that you have. And hence, for example, let's say somebody hears that their father has passed away. They'll say, oh, my heart breaks. Is their heart actually breaking? No. They feel that in their essence, something is going through a lot of pressure. That moment, that level that's going through a lot of pressure, that's what the heart is. That essence of your nafs, that essence of your I. That essence of your I is what actually motivates you to act and to change. And in fact, the energy that it gets is from the commemoration of Aba Abdullah himself, from this riwayah from the Holy Prophet. Salawat, please. So what is a cold heart? A good analogy of a cold heart would be that of a ladder. Sometimes a cold heart is a heart which wants to allow other people to get elevated. It wants to see change. It wants to see other people grow. So it'll come and it'll take people from a lower level and try to take them towards a higher level. But as the ladder is doing it, does the ladder itself ever get higher? No, it stays exactly where it is. There's no development in the ladder at all. So at one level, a heart which is cold, which is not doing its job, which is not developing, sometimes acts as a ladder. Where basically it wants to develop everybody else around them except for themselves. So an example of that is a father who wants to see his children very religious and pious and have good etiquettes, but he doesn't actually work on those aspects that he wants from his kids on himself. It'll be a father who says, I want my kids to wake up early in the morning and go to sleep early, but he himself, midnight 1 might be still on the television. This heart is acting like a ladder. It wants to see everybody go up around him, while he remains exactly where he is, not moving. Salawat, please. It might come in the example of a mother who wants to see her family fit and healthy and live a long life. But when it comes to actually prescribing, giving food to them on the table, she's not careful of that at all. The types of food she gives to her children or those who are in her household is contra to what she actually wants. And she's not willing to change on that. Okay? It might come in the shape of a child who wishes for their parents to treat them with a lot of respect, who wishes for their parents to treat them in a nice manner. But when it comes to them changing their behaviors, they're rigid in that. This idea of us as humans having a cold heart, it's a very normal idea. At some level, all of us have it. The mention of Aba Abdullah is to actually touch that aspect of our lives and give it this want to be with Aba Abdullah himself. And with that want, you realize that where I am right now is not worthy of being with Aba Abdullah. So hence, I can't pull him to where I am. That means I have to travel to where he is. Salawat, please. The second zikrul maut that's mentioned in our riwayat is the visitation of graveyards. Typically, we only visit people who have passed away close to us, and if there's a funeral happening, we'll visit graveyards back then. Although it was a custom amongst Muslims to go to the graveyards regularly. The Ahlul Bayt would go to the graveyards every week, and we have in our riwayat which Ahlul Bayt would go to the graveyards on which day. Some would go on Mondays, some would go on Fridays, some would go on Thursdays, and so on and so forth. And it was their regular routine. This zikr of maut, what it does is, in fact, it helps you come 1 centimeter away from the material world. So you can see that there is, in fact, a possibility of existence beyond that which is in the material sense. The zikr of maut is extremely important. You see, your eye, your nafs, it thinks that it is baqi. It thinks that it will always remain. Even if it sees his father, mother, sister, brother, friend pass away, in that small moment, it'll say to itself, yeah, I have to pass away once too. But when it goes back to an attention away from that graveyard or that deceased person, it will go back to its default state of thinking that it is baqi. It's going to remain forever. Why is that? In its essence, it's a true concept. Remember that lumberjack you were thinking of? That lumberjack only stopped existing when you disconnected from it as the creator of it, correct? So the misconception that the eye makes, that the nafs makes is that it says, in fact, this material world is that which is baqi. And hence he thinks that, you know what, this particular type of lifestyle for me is going to continue forever. That's how he acts. Where in fact what is actually fitri for him to realize is that his connection is baqi, his nafs is eternal, and this apparent life and this material body will come to an end. Cognitively understanding that, yes, we all understand that. The problem is the moment we lose focus from that particular attention, when it comes time to, let's say, going out of the parking lot in the Husseiniya, when it comes time to, let's say, getting tabarruk in the Husseiniya, when it comes time to, let's say, serving and helping out and asking someone to assist us in the Husseiniya, all of a sudden we might forget that entirely. We'll become topsy-turvy, a little bit wobbly. We have to be careful, understand that that which is baqi is our nafs. This material life, no matter where it's from India, Pakistan, Tanzania, China, it doesn't matter. This material life of ours is going to come to an end. And the nafs is that which remains baqi. Salawat, please. When we go to the graveyards, And I'm talking about this because this is what you've been asking me from your forums and so on and so forth. So I'm addressing those points in my last lecture too. When we go to the graveyard, sometimes we think that what is the best thing to recite, forgetting that in fact it's the purity of the reciter that's important, not the purity of the words. The words are pure. Surah Hamd, Surah Yasin, they're the purest of words. The limitation in causing any effect for those who have passed away or that person who's reciting is the purity of the reciter, not the purity of the words. The words are pure. Sometimes we go to the graveyard thinking that we're actually doing a favor or helping those that have passed away, where in fact that visitation of the graveyard is one of my actions. And then the one that it helps the most really is myself. If that visitation of the graveyard changed me, only then is that action pure enough to actually cause an effect to somebody else. If that visitation of the graveyard wasn't even able to change me, its primary associate, it's not going to be strong enough to jump to the next associate after that. The purity of the one reciting is more important than the purity of the words being recited, because the words that are being recited are from the Ahlul Bayt. They're guaranteed to be pure. Salawat, please. The third and most often occurring mention of death, most often in the caravan of Abu Abdullah, is the mechanism of self-accounting. We have a riwayat here from Imam Kazim alayhi salam. It says, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ لَمْ يُحَاسِبْ نَفْسُهُ فِي كُلِّ يَوْمٍ. The Imam says, the person who does not do self-accounting every single day is not from us. Is not from us. If you can't take 5 minutes at the end of your day to account for what you've done that day, was it in line with the caravan of Abu Abdullah or not? The Imam is saying you're not from us. What a bigger punishment. Is there a bigger punishment that exists for those who are lovers of the Ahlul Bayt than for them to come and say you're not from us? A bigger punishment doesn't exist. The Imam's hadith continually says that if the believer sees in his day, within the 5 minutes that he plays his day, if he sees in his day that he has done anything good, he right away thanks Allah for it, for allowing him to do good. It brings about humbleness in the individual. And if he's done something evil or bad in his day, he right away asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him not perform that again. He has regret over that action. This mechanism of the zikr of maut, this idea which the ulama called muhasibah, the riwayat called it hisab as well. Okay? This idea of accounting for ourselves is extremely important, accounting every night. Those who are in the caravan, that mechanism that keeps them attached to the caravan and stops them from falling off is muhasibah, is self-accounting. You see, aside from the day you were born or the day you will pass away, every other day of yours has how many hours? 24 hours. And what's naturally filled in that day of the 24 hours is exactly what you'll be questioned by. So if you see that 75% of the time you're going to your workplace and you're occupied in work, well, when in the hereafter, that time that you have to account for, 75% of that, you know exactly where the questions are going to come from. If you see you're spending 6 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, I don't know how many hours with your family at home, okay, then you know exactly that this will be asked. It's not the case that Allah will ask a question to you in the hereafter that is not happening in this life only. We talked about how the questioning is. The questioning is just a mirror being put up. It's not verbal questions. So exactly as how we lived on this side of death, what we occupied our 24 hours with on this side of death, we'll be asked about those. Sometimes we occupy this side of death with a lot of lack ofs. Lack of salah, lack of Quran, lack of tawajjuh towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lack of obedience of those who are our awliya, be our parents, be our husband, in the right categories that Allah has allowed for that authority to exist. We have to understand that that lack of always takes place in the form of an of. The lack of salah is always taking itself in the shape of an of, which is like sleeping, for example. It's never the case that you're never performing an act. Whether you like it or not, you are in fact always acting. You're a human being. You can't stop being. And hence you keep acting, you keep doing things. So the lack ofs are in fact just the mismanagement of what you had to do, and you're still using the same energy level, you're still performing a task. Just that task happens to be something other than what Allah wants. And hence, in allocating that task over Allah, you're allocating yourself over Allah. In allocating sleep over salah and allocating games over my wajibat, I'm allocating that I over Allah. And the Holy Quran warns us of that. It says, have you not seen the one who takes his hawa as his ilah? Ilah in Arabic means the one you submit to. The one you submit to. It says, have you not seen those nufus, those eyes that submit to their own lower desires and forget the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Muhasaba is a mechanism to make sure we don't do that. Salawat, please. Imam Hussein alayhi salam has a hadith, very beautiful hadith. It says that he talks to his companion. He says, Sabran ya bani al-kiram, famal maut illa al-qantara. Death is nothing but a bridge. There's a huge aspect of knowledge why he calls them Bani Kiram and what does that mean and why does he use the word Kiram. We're not going to go into that, we don't have time. But he talks about Maut being Qantara, a bridge. Okay? So those individuals who are in the caravan of Abu Abdullah, they're not scared of the bridge. They're scared of what comes before the bridge. They're scared of lying. They're scared of cheating. They're scared of scamming. They're scared of wasting their time. They're scared of israf. They're not scared of that bridge because the bridge is nothing but something connecting two sides. Those who are in the caravan of Abu Abdullah are scared of that which comes before the bridge, not the bridge itself. Those who are not in the caravan of Abu Abdullah, they have their eyes closed. They're scared of the bridge instead of something they should actually be scared of. Salawat, please. Throughout these lectures, I tried to show you differences in ways of thinking, a paradigm shift really. Okay? And how those who are in the camp of Abu Abdullah, their way of thinking is different than those who are not. One of the biggest dhulms that the Banu Umayyah did to those who were Muslims, those who were around them, was twisting their way of thinking. Okay? So, the Banu Umayyah, so in the time of the first Khalifa is when he appoints Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, the brother of Muawiyah, to go and rule over Misr and Sham area, Shamat. Okay? And after this particular person dies, then near the caliphate of the second Khalifa and then continuing in the third Khalifa, Muawiyah takes over that area. And all these times he develops those individuals who are there and he works on twisting the way they think. He just wants to twist it. He doesn't make them clean their beards or take their hijab off. Those individuals, while having a nice beard, proper hijab, while reciting the Holy Quran, those individuals, their way of thinking becomes twisted. Let me give you some examples of how twisted it gets. Yazid ruled for how many years? 3 years. This Mal'un, every year he did a horrendous action. Let me tell you, the first year he did what? Karbala. Second year and third year. One of them he goes and he attacks the Kaaba and he burns that down. And the other year he attacks Medina. Yazid in 3 years did some of the 3 of the most horrendous tragedies in our history. This Mal'un did. Now when they're going to attack the Kaaba, it's announced in Sham that there's a mountain there called Abu Qubais, okay, near Mecca, a mountain called Abu Qubais. And when they go to Sham and they say that we have captured Abu Qubais, the people think Abu Qubais is a person. They said, bring Abu Qubais here, then we will believe you that you've captured Abu Qubais. That's the level of low and twisted thinking that they have. Even the path going towards Hajj, they don't know that Abu Qubais is one of the markers going towards Hajj. When the Shahada of Amirul Mu'mineen is announced in Sham, these individuals come and they say, Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib used to pray. They were shocked. They were, what was he doing in the masjid that he got shaheed in the mihrab? That was the level of twisting that Muawiyah had done in their minds. These individuals prayed. They prayed Jamaat too. They filled the masjids. But unfortunately, when it came to their way of thinking, it was twisted. Did you know when the caravan of Abu Abdullah is entering Sham, as a means of cheering what they were reciting Surah Kahf. As a means of cheering, celebration, their mode of celebration was what? Recitation of Surah Kahf. These individuals had something twisted in their thinking. Salawat, please. There's a hadith by Imam Jawad that says that person, man asgha ila natiqin faqad abadahu. A person who gives his ear towards a speaker becomes the slave of that speaker. Then Imam continues, فَإِنْ كَانَ النَّاتِقُ يُؤَدِّي عَنِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ فَقَدْ أَبَدَ اللَّهِ. If that speaker is calling you towards Allah, then you become the slave of Allah. وَإِنْ كَانَ النَّاتِقُ يُؤَدِّي عَنِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَقَدْ أَبَدَ الشَّيْطَانِ. If the speaker, for whatever level the speaker is calling you towards something that is not Allah, at that level you become the abd of that which is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, dear brothers and sisters, when it comes to us wanting to get our physical heart operated, we go and we make sure that we look for the most approved, authenticated doctor out there. We make sure that he has studied somewhere authentic. An institution will say that yes, he's passed the courses there. We ensure that he's somebody who's accredited and he has some value to him. We ensure that he is not a first-year student or a second-year student. We ensure that he hasn't just studied online surgery. When it comes times to operating our physical heart, we go about very carefully through lots of filters, and then very hesitantly we give our physical heart, and even then we have anxiety and need counseling before operation. So why is it the case that when it comes to our metaphysical heart, our deen, the source of our eternal baqa, you want to give it to anybody who can climb a mimbar? Why? It is extremely important to understand that which happened to the Muslims in the time of Imam Hussein was not the case that their salah was taken or their hijab was taken or they stopped reciting the Holy Quran. No. That which was perverted was their way of thinking. It was crafted in a very long planned manner from the time of the first Khalifa, really, by the Banu Umayyah, and it's something that lasts even till this day. Salawat, please. Just as you would have that physical doctor vetted and approved, and you want to make sure that the institution that he's coming from approves of him as a doctor, the same goes for a scholar too. The same goes for somebody who you want to listen to and give attention to. You should inquire and research that such an individual, is their own hawza willing to back them up? Is their own institution that they're coming to willing to say that such a person is accredited to speak about the deen? We have to become a little bit more aware regarding our choices if we want any change to come about. If we're not attentive about our choices, if we're not attentive towards our actions, no change will ever come. In fact, when no change is coming, because the enemies don't sleep, they work harder than most of us do, a decline in the society starts to occur. We talked about how the people of Kufa, when the Ahlul Bayt went there, it was a completely different environment. The people of Kufa were crying. In fact, they had recently given bay'ah to Hazrat Muslim alayhi salam, and they had then neglected that particular bay'ah. They were crying. And the Ahlul Bayt were telling them that it was actually your fault, your negligence, and your neglect that has caused Karbala to happen. Sham is a very different story altogether. Sham, when Imam Sajjad is asked, what is one of the most difficult times for you? He says, Sham. You see, these individuals from the time of the first Khalifa were with Banu Umayyah. They had their hearts attached to Banu Umayyah like glue. How do you know this? Look at the wasiyah that Muawiyah gives to Yazid. La'nat on both of them. Muawiyah says to Yazid, says, Sham, treat them, the people of Sham, treat them as valuable as your own two eyes. Why? Because we have worked significantly on them. His next advice, as soon as you take them out of Sham to go win a war, bring them quickly back, because if they're amongst the other people, their eyes will start to open. Wasiyat of Muawiyah to his son Yazid. That when you take these Shamis, they're going to be with you, period, till the end. When you take them out of Sham to fight a war, bring them quickly back, because if you don't bring them quickly back and they're amongst the people, they will recognize things that they shouldn't. Sham was a very different story altogether. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Suhail ibn Sa'd al-Sa'di is accounting. He's saying that he's one of the companions of the Holy Prophet. He says, I appeared in Sham from after Hajj time, and I realized that they were all decorating the streets and they were cheering, and the recitation of the Holy Quran was amongst them. I inquired, what's going on? They told me, we're bringing the head of Hussein ibn Ali into Sham. So he narrates that he goes to the door by which the caravan is coming in, and there he approaches the caravan, and he approaches one of the ladies there. Her name is Sakina bint al-Husayn. He says, I approached her and I said, who are you? He says, Sakina says that we are the Al of Rasulullah. Suhail says, I was one of the companions of the Holy Prophet. In my old age, O Bibi, is there anything I could do to help you now? Sayyidah Sakina says, we are the family of the Holy Prophet. We don't wish for the na-mahram to see our faces, for their faces were uncovered at this time. She says, can you please request them to bring the heads of the shuhada before they bring the ladies into the bazaar, so that the people's attention could be focused on the heads and not on the Ahl of Allah. So he goes to the people carrying the head and he tells them, I will pay you whatever gold you want, just please bring the heads of the shuhada before the ladies. Such a ghareeb time we have. It's narrated that these individuals came close to Imam Sajjad and they said, praise be to Allah who caused your father to die. And Imam Sajjad alayhi salam starts to weep and says, do you not know who we are? We are the family of Rasulullah. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he says to the individual, that old man, he says, have you read the Holy Quran? He says, yes, I have. Imam says, have you not read قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. He says, yes, we have read this verse. He says, we are the ones who the Rasul asked for you to obey and love. It is narrated that after talking to the Imam, this old man realizes that this is actually the family of Rasulullah. He says, by Allah, we were told that the Prophet had no family, and the closest of kinship to the Prophet were Yazid and Muawiyah. Imam Sajjad corrects him and tells him that in fact, he had a daughter and we are from her nasl. We are the sons, we are the companions, we are the family members of Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. This old man, it's narrated, starts to revolt and he starts to create a riot, and Yazid over there orders for him to be beheaded. Such a time has come for the Allah. The last point before we end, inshallah. There comes a time when Zainab, the daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib, is brought to the court of Yazid. Imam Sajjad says this was the most difficult time. He tells them, we are the family of Rasulullah, and yet you have brought us to this place. Even Yazid starts to see that those individuals around who didn't know that this was the family of Rasulullah are starting to question him. And over there, Imam Sajjad gives a fiery khutbah. But before that, the mala'in, those mal'oons who were there, started to curse Abu Abdullah and Amirul Mu'mineen. And the Ahlul Bayt and children of Abu Abdullah had to witness such a tragedy. Matam Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein.
جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہر تماچے پہ سکینہ نے، ہر تماچے پہ سکینہ نے پکارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، مجھے بالوں سے پکڑ کر ہیں تماچے مارے، مجھے بالوں سے پکڑ کر ہیں تماچے مارے، میں نے سر شمر سے مانگا جو تمہارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، وہ جو درا اپنے تحفے میں مجھے بخشے تھے، وہ جو درا اپنے تحفے میں مجھے بخشے تھے، ان کو بے دردی سے ظالم نے اتارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہے مارا بابا، آپ کے سینے پہ آرام سے سونے والی، آپ کے سینے پہ آرام سے سونے والی سو کے اب خاک پہ کرتی ہے گزارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہمارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے سات راہواروں کے دوڑایا گیا ہے مجھ کو سات رہواروں کے دوڑا گیا ہے مجھ کو چور زخموں سے بدن میرا ہے سارا بابا جب مجھے آپ بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے مارا بابا نو کے نیزہ پہ اسے دیکھوں تو دیکھوں کیسے نو کے نیزہ پہ اسے دیکھوں تو دیکھوں کیسے میرا اصغر تھا مجھے جان سے بھی پیارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہمارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہمارا بابا
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم نہ سر پہ رہی چادر نہ میرا بچا بھائی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم عباس چلے آؤ خیموں میں غریبوں کے بھوکے اور پیاسے ہیں لوٹے ہیں نصیبوں کے سجاد کو ہوش نہیں کلثوم ہے گھبرائی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم کلثوم نے سر پیٹا مقتل میں کھڑے ہو کے ہے کانپتے ہاتھوں سے زینب نے رو رو کے دستار امامت کی سجاد کو پہنائی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم جلتے ہوئے خیموں سے زینب کی صدا آئی عباس کہاں ہو تم فضا بتا دے مجھ کو پتھر کیوں آ رہے ہیں اما فضا بتا دے مجھ کو پتھر کیوں آ رہے ہیں اما فضا بتا دے مجھ کو پتھر کیوں آ رہے ہیں اما فضا
करबला
اچھی کھائی سغرا وطن میں روتی دیتی رہی دہائی میرا بھیا نہ رہا با حسینہ میرا کوئی نہ رہا با حسینہ اب کس کو دوں میں صدا کربلا 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 نیزے پہ لاش اصغر کی جھولنے لگی ہے خیمے میں دل کو تھامے ماں بہن کر رہی ہے میرا اصغر نہ رہا با حسینہ میرا کوئی نہ رہا با حسینہ اب کس کو دوں میں صدا کربلا کربلا یا حسین 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 محمد و آل محمد
Inshallah, we'll recite Ziyarat Ashura after Salah. We have 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes plus, inshallah, short break. We pray for the well-being of Sayyid, his family, his safe return, inshallah. And we pray for his family, increased iman for all of you, all volunteers, all attendees, all that have prayed for us. May Allah bless you and your families. And those, inshallah, my young brothers, inshallah, may Allah bless them بحق Zainab alayhi salam to complete their deen, inshallah. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. سورة الفاتحة for our مرحومين.